Last season, I was so desperate to avoid relegation that I sold out and downloaded a tactic from FM Scout with 7 games to play. With this tactic, I was able to survive on the final day by beating Manchester United. But it came at a cost. Man United lost their top 4 spot, and that spot went to our rivals Newcastle, who now have Champions League football. Not only that, but we faced them in the opening game of the season. But first things first, I decided no more downloading tactics, so I designed and tested this 4-3-3 to good effect. The system was designed specifically to accommodate the signings of Jairo Rivaldo and Ibrahima Diallo, which were made in January of the previous season. In this season's window, we brought in Dan James from Leeds to replace Chiquinho. In midfield, I also managed to meet Tanguy Ndombele's release clause to secure a coup of a signing. There were reinforcements in defense as Leo Furhiode came in from Leeds United. Then, I took advantage of our rivals Middlesbrough getting relegated by stealing their 2 best players. First up, Dale Fry, 16 heading, 16 jumping reach, and a height of 6'4", the center back of any FM player's dream. And second, Chuba Akpom for $12 million to reinforce our attack. He'd score his first goal in the match with Newcastle off an incredible Dan James assist. Giannis Haji made it 2, and we were cruising. Shoots low. Oh, Bruno Guimaraes gets it in. Headed out Fry. Botman. Oh, you gotta be kidding me, man! We then faced Fulham, and before the game, Marco Silva decided to take a shot at me, saying Sunderland would be going down. But we showed Marco Silva what happens when you doubt us. Despite this victory, our opening schedule saw us take on 4 of the big 6 in our first 7 matches, and it didn't go too well, except against Man City where we managed to pick up a draw in stoppage time. And despite a win against Southampton, we were in the zone at the end of September. When October arrived, we finally started to get results with victories over promoted Burnley and Watford along with a 0-0 draw against Brighton. Given these results, our November matches seemed pretty doable. We took on 3rd place Crystal Palace, who beat us in stoppage time thanks to Regan Poole and Niakate being clowns? That's okay, we can bounce back against 1st place Aston Villa. Yeah, I think you know how that went. December rolled around, and we impressively conceded only a single goal in 4 games. But we only scored 1 as well. That said, a draw at the Emirates with 10 men after Familia Castillo got injured was an impressive feat. A 0-0 with United, however, was not, as they were fighting relegation and had just sacked Ten Hag. It's crazy to think this is happening because I hit a download button. Speaking of Ten Hag, he would become the Fulham boss just a few weeks later, and they were up next. We looked like we were heading for yet another 0-0 draw, but then... Oh no, it's a full... Oh, Furhiode, nice. Whoa! Whoa! No! How is that a penalty? Yes, Patterson! Let's go! Saved it! Come on. Furhiode! A close but needed victory ahead of the derby with Newcastle, who had just sacked Eddie Howe. Dan James gave us the lead, but Pulisic would equalize. I wasn't expecting much going into the Tottenham game, but both our wingbacks got on the score sheet and we pulled out a massive shock victory. That was the last game our goalkeeper Anthony Patterson played in, as Saudi Arabia rolled up with a $27 million bid. So, it's goodbye to our first choice keeper for the last 2.5 seasons. A bid for Elliot Embleton soon followed, and he was off to Al Hilal. Cameron Humphreys came in as his replacement, while I brought in David Raya from Brentford to replace Patterson. Raya would make his debut in the FA Cup against second-tier Nottingham Forest. He'd face a penalty in the 14th minute, which he couldn't stop. However, the Forest goalkeeper couldn't stop one final rocket from Embleton. And then, in the 90th minute... Oh, mistake at the back, Stewart! Why are we passing backwards? Oh my gosh, no! Oh my gosh, no! I was furious at this loss, because we've now been knocked out of both cup competitions by second-tier teams. Oh yeah, that's right, we got knocked out on penalties to Everton in the Carabao Cup earlier, an Everton side that couldn't get out of the championship, by the way. Man City's up next in the league too, this is only gonna get worse. For that, and oh my gosh, but I just hope we don't get blown out. Oh my gosh, David Raya. Come on, man. Abdullah. Dan James is in. Dan James! What a finish! Giannis Haji with the corner. Furhiode! It's 2-2! Like, he's like supposed to be our, like, star keeper, and he gave them a goal. Good through ball, Giannis Haji. Hit it! Oh, what a finish! It's 3-3! Giannis Haji! Trying to push the line here. Bernardo Silva's onside. He's going to score. Okay, yeah, we lost in the end, but there were signs of major improvement. A few weeks later against European champions Chelsea, and Ndombele secured a historic victory against a team that would go on to win the Premier League. Defeats against Liverpool and Leicester soon followed, but with Shakur Omar dismantling 10-man West Ham, I was genuinely starting to wonder, could we make a late push to qualify for... No, we can't. But Sunderland haven't finished in the top 10 of the Premier League since 2011, so that was the objective with 6 games to play. Aston Villa up first. We made use of Niakate's long throws to secure a tight win. Against Wolves, Niakate would be involved yet again, scoring a penalty to put us 2-0. Oh my gosh, are you serious? We also blew the 2-0 lead. Leeds was up next, and it was very clear why they were getting relegated. A result made all the more satisfying by finding out Marco Silva was now the Leeds manager. Those comments he made at Fulham during the start of the season have aged very poorly. Speaking of Fulham, Ten Hag kept them up, with a big reason being our 3-1 victory over their relegation rivals Bournemouth. Then, it was time to welcome Arsenal to the Stadium of Light. Anything but a loss would put the pressure entirely on Leicester City to catch up to 10th. It was weak. Dan James. Ooh, Dan James outpaces Saliba. It's 1-1. Shakur Omar, Dan James, Ndombele, Dennis Sirkin is 2. Speaking of that man, Kolo Muani equalizes for Arsenal. Juson Bennett, Ndombele, that's right, the correct acceleration. Now pass to Shakur. Shakur Omar. It's 3-2. Ndombele loses possession. Martin Odegaard is in, and Martin Odegaard puts it past David Raya. The irony. That draw secured it, as Leicester failed to win their game in hand. We took it easy on the final day, but still managed a 2-2 draw with United. The biggest standout from this end-of-season run ended up being our January signing, Cameron Humphreys, who managed to seamlessly slide into Elliot Embleton's role. This guy was even posting 10s in training. 10th was the final finishing position, a major improvement. Our defensive depth signings really paid off, as Fjorhjelde and Fry combining with Niakate helped us become the 7th best defense in the league. And despite the underperformance of Chuba Akpom, the partnership of Dan James and Shakur Omar proved effective in getting us more goals than we'd scored in the previous season. Meanwhile in Europe, Man City became the 3rd different English side to claim the trophy. As for Newcastle, they were knocked out by Liverpool in the quarterfinals, and a disastrous mid-season means they'll miss out on Europe completely. So next season, it's all to play for. Now if in real life Sunderland could just